The Green Revolution was a time of agricultural advancement. In the 1960s, high-yield crops were introduced across the world. But they came with a cost. These seeds were reliant on fertilizers and pesticides.
Bred for chemicals, as it is very weak plants, in terms of resilience, and they need 10 times more water.
Today, crop yields are in decline. Modern agriculture has taken a toll on the planet, sucking up resources at an unsustainable rate.
पानी तो बगैर कोई फसल नहीं होती, जो भी मर्जी आप समझ लो, पानी से बगैर तो आदमी नहीं जी पाता।
प्रेजेंटली जिस स्पीड से ये धान की वजह से हमारा पानी जा रहा है, उस हिसाब से तो बड़ी जल्दी हम डेजर्ट होने वाले हैं।
Amidst dire warnings of disaster, farmers are seeking alternatives, turning to plants from the past, to crops that use less water, which thrive despite rising temperatures, crops that can adapt to an unpredictable climate. India, home to the second largest irrigated crop area on the planet, and one of the largest global producers of food.
So India is feeding a huge population, and its production system reflects that, the scale of the production system. India is also, in certain agricultural products, a major player in international markets. And if we take rice, for example, since 2014-15, India has been the largest exporter of rice.
Extreme weather events, declining soil fertility, and the depletion of groundwater are hurting India's farms. Some of these problems stem from the Green Revolution, a set of agricultural reforms introduced across the developing world in the 1960s. Dr. Vandana Shiva lived through those times.
The Green Revolution came and the new seeds bred only for chemicals were introduced, and because compared to the brilliance of our peasants, who from one grass created 200,000 rice varieties in India of indica, they could only pathetically move on creating dwarf varieties of rice and wheat. And that's what became the farming everywhere and became the foodstuff on every shelf. So it's rice and wheat, polished rice and refined wheat. And at the root of this then is the recipe for all the epidemic diseases we are seeing as diversity has disappeared.
Before the proliferation of white rice, much of Asia's ancestral diets consisted of diverse indigenous grains. Grains which are largely forgotten.
The United Nations quantified the loss of genetic diversity with the Leipzig Conference on Plant Genetic Resources, where I was present. And every country of the world reported a 75% loss from the time the Green Revolution and modern varieties were introduced. Now that's 1995. Since then, globalization has further expanded monocultures, and there's a deeper loss. I wrote a book on the Punjab, on the violence of the Green Revolution, and I know 250 species of crops used to be grown in Punjab. And now they grow one monoculture of wheat, of one variety in one season, and one monoculture of rice in the next season. So you can calculate 250 down to 2.
Punjab is India's granary, but the vast number of crops that used to be planted here have whittled down to only 2. Wheat, grown in warmer months, and rice in the cooler ones. It's the middle of July when paddy fields are typically sown. The fields need to be filled with rainwater, but the monsoon rains are late this year, and the farmers have had to draw on groundwater to ensure their fields are irrigated.
पीछे वाले किसान उन्होंने सारा अपना जो उखा ले आते हैं उसको बहा दिया। फिर ट्यूबवेल हो गए हैं, ज़्यादा बिजली के ट्यूबवेल के कनेक्शन पंजाब में ज़्यादा मिल गया, हमें भी कनेक्शन मिल गया। हमने कैनाल वाटर जो लेना छोड़ दिया, और जब छोड़ा है तो बस ऐसे ही है, अभी समर्सिबल चलता है, ऑटोमेटिक लगा है, तो बस आराम हो गया। वो खाल है वो हमें निकाल कर लाना पड़ता है। इधर हमें सुखाई होती है, बटन दबाना है तो हमारा काम हो जाता है बस। इसीलिए हम वो यूज नहीं करते हैं। ये हमारे पास बिजली ज़्यादा है, पानी ज़्यादा है, पानी का लेवल ऊपर है, इसीलिए हम यही वर्तों करते हैं।
Despite 5 rivers flowing through the state of Punjab, more than 70% of the cultivated area draws groundwater. But more water is drawn from underground aquifers than is being replenished.
देख लो इस टाइम पंजाब में more than 75 लाख एकड़्स अंडर द पैडी कल्टीवेशन, और अगर आप इसकी ज्योग्राफी को देखें पंजाब की, तो ये 35 लाख से नॉट मोर देन 35 लाख एकड़ से होना नहीं चाहिए था। इतना लंबा चौड़ा एरिया पैडी के अंडर आने से जो एटमॉस्फेयर है पंजाब का, से नीचे पानी खींचने का जो बिकॉज ऑफ पैडी विद द ट्यूबल कनेक्शंस, वो जो सिलसिला शुरू हुआ है, वो तो अभी इतना ज़्यादा सीरियस हो गया है।
A 2020 assessment by the Central Groundwater Board found that most districts in Punjab had overexploited their groundwater, and India's National Green Tribunal, a central government initiative, has issued a dire warning. The state is left with enough groundwater to last for just 17 years.
उस टाइम से तो यही भी, उस टाइम जो हैगा अपना जो वाटर लेवल था बहुत ऊपर था। जो ऐसे जहाँ खेत में मैं बैठा हूँ, इसमें जो है हमारा है चल रहा है, जो मोनोबल ब्लॉक पंप चल रहा है, जो ऊपर लगा हुआ है। जो हमारे बोरवेल हैं वो चल रहे हैं सारे 100-150 फीट पर। लेकिन यही बात जो मालवे की तरफ से करेंगे तो वो जो बोरवेल है वो 500, 700, 800 फीट पर चले गए हैं।
And farmers are continually digging deeper for access. The origins of this problem can be traced back to 1997, when the local government gave farmers access to free electricity for their pumps. This caused farmers to shift away from the labour-intensive river-fed canal system. The number of bore wells in the state multiplied, causing tremendous pressure on the groundwater levels.
Presently, जिस स्पीड से ये धान की वजह से हमारा पानी जा रहा है, उस हिसाब से तो बड़ी जल्दी हम डेजर्ट होने वाले हैं। ये चीज़ें भी हमें बड़ा परेशान करती हैं।
जो हमारा खुशहाल था पंजाब, उसको हमने अपने हाथों से घर कर दिया।
Thailand's farms are also reeling from the effects of climate change. In March, temperatures reached 45 degrees Celsius for the first time ever. Farmers are now bracing themselves for a long dry spell caused by the El Niño climate pattern. Like in India, they too have turned to drawing more and more groundwater to fill their fields. The country's famed jasmine rice doesn't do well in extreme heat and needs plenty of water.
You can see here why they have to keep water standing so about more than 5 centimeters, because this is a way that they want to suppress the weed seed. Weed is the most important pest competing rice, but rice is not very good competitor. So farmer needs to use water to suppress non-germinating seed, so that let rice grow slowly and then dominate the area.
It's not just more water that's being expended. In some areas, farmers are also turning to more extreme measures to suppress weeds. Chemical inputs are a key feature of modern agriculture. And in Thailand, farmers are using more of it to ensure their lands remain productive.
For the long term, herbicide will reduce weed growing, and that reduces the biomass and organic matter. So land that use a lot of herbicide will deplete organic matter. So you have to add in.
You have to add in
organic matter
to compensate it.
Yeah, to compensate, to maintain the fertility of soil.
The agricultural sector is the second largest emitter of greenhouse gases in Thailand. From that total, rice is the largest contributor. The emissions come from methane, released from bacteria living on decomposing organic matter found in paddy fields that are perpetually flooded.
โดยเฉพาะนาข้าวซึ่งมันมีผลต่อการปล่อยแก๊สมีเทนค่ะเมื่อไหร่ก็ตามที่มีการขังน้ำนะคะก็จะมีแก๊สมีเทนเกิดขึ้นค่ะสิ่งที่เราจะสามารถช่วยลดตรงนี้ได้ก็คือเรื่องของการปรับเปลี่ยนวิธีการจัดการน้ำแทนที่จะขังอย่างต่อเนื่องก็อาจจะเปลี่ยนสลับไปเป็นการทำเปียกสลับแห้งได้นะคะ
In a wet and dry approach to rice cultivation, fields are not kept flooded for the entire planting season. They are instead left to dry out as the plants mature. This uses less water than conventional rice farming methods, but that still doesn't help with the harsher temperatures plants have to live with nowadays. As our climate continues to warm, crops will inevitably require more water.
In Thailand, research done by FAO and the Office of Agricultural Economics was showing that rice production is being grown at the moment very close to the temperature threshold beyond which we would see major declines in productivity. And without things like supplemental irrigation, that we could expect major declines in the productivity of rice.
Rice, the preferred staple for half the world's population. For most rice eaters, it's the sort that's white, refined and polished for a longer shelf life and that familiar taste. But there are ancient varieties of rice that are more nutritious. In 2002, the Rice Science Centre at Thailand's Kasetsart University took an indigenous purple rice and crossbred it with the country's famed jasmine rice to form a hybrid varietal. This is Riceberry.
But that first purple rice have very high nutrition than any purple rice at the time and compared to white rice. So that excites us, especially the iron content.
Rich in iron, riceberry could be the antidote to iron deficiency anemia, a widespread condition. They're also hardier as a crop, being more resistant to heat. And unlike commercial rice crops, riceberry does not need chemical-based fertilisers. Despite all the benefits, most Thai farmers are still yet to be won over by riceberry.
ความกังวลใจคือว่าตลาดข้าวตัวนี้เนี่ยมันก็ยากอยู่นะครับถ้าไม่มีบริษัทมาดูแลมารับซื้อนะครับเพราะทั่วไปนี่ส่วนใหญ่คนที่กินก็จะเป็นพวกอะไรนะคนที่มีเงินหน่อยอ่ะที่เขาไปซื้อไปผสมกับข้าวขาวหุงอ่ะส่วนมากคนในหมู่บ้านอย่างบ้านผมเขาที่ไม่ทานกันไม่มีใครทานกันครับส่วนมากมันจะขึ้นห้างไงข้าวผสมพวกนี้มันจะขึ้นห้างที่เขาใส่แพ็คเป็นกิโลนะครับ
Well aware of the business risks, Boon Peng Kamgern decided to plant riceberry. A bit of research helped him make up his mind.
แล้วรู้จักได้มาจากคนบ้านถ้ำเขาแนะนำผมมาตอนนั้นครับเลยมาปลูกครับต้นพูดถึงไรเบอรี่เลยครับถ้าเป็นลักษณะแบบนี้นะครับต้นแข็งแรงครับเมล็ดจะเป็นสีตอนนี้มันแก่จัดแล้วจะออกเป็นสีเทาเนี่ยถ้ามันเพิ่งตอนนี้ก็เป็นสีดำนะครับทนโรคทนแมลงครับต้นแข็งแรงไม่ล้มอันนี้ผมโดนพายุมา 2-3 รอบเลยไม่ล้มครับต้นมันแข็งแรงถ้าเป็นหอมปทุมหรือว่าเป็นแม่โจ้อะไรพวกนี้ก็จะล้มอ่ะ
The process of breeding every generation of riceberry starts here at the university. These are the first generation of riceberry seeds which are being sorted, bagged and labelled before being sent to farmers across Thailand. Each new generation of seed will carry with it traits that have been found to improve on the generations of rice that came before it.
So in common term is pyramiding, gene pyramiding. So that takes time. So 20 years of work put together 10 genes into one variety. So that's what farmers would gain benefit because they are ready, that kind of pyramided variety, they are ready to face multiple change like climate change.
Professor Apichat and his students are conducting water stress tests on riceberry plants. The aim of the study? To measure how the plants react when starved of water. The team compares the quantity and size of stomata cells in each plant. They're hoping to find a plant that absorbs less water but produces a similar amount of rice grains.
So under normal condition with plenty of water, unlimited, more number of stomata means is high yielding. You can imagine that if they take up carbon dioxide with sunlight, they will have better photosynthesis compared to the one that have less number of stomata cells. And it's true on that. But once you don't have enough water, right, the cell damage caused by stress could be more. So the one that have less stress will produce more, can keep more grain and more weight of the leaf. That's what she has to do it, monitor water the whole from seedling to the end.
The team is looking for a plant with specific characteristics. When they find it, they will breed that plant, with the hope that its offspring will have those traits too. Each row of plants will react differently, according to the varying amounts of water they're given. There are no shortcuts to this science.
ก็เริ่มม้วนแล้วนะคะช่วงนี้ม้วนไม่ค่อยต่างกันค่ะเพราะว่าน้ำไม่ได้แรงขนาดนั้นไม่ได้น้อยขนาดนั้น
Leaf samples of each plant are taken to the lab. Under a microscope, the stomata cells are counted, analysed and compared.
It will take several years, but we hope this year we will see some purple rice that take less water but yield more. We are not sure that we can conquer this stress, the heat and drought together, but we can kind of at least mitigate. And so we expect that rice can yield a little bit less, but to keep quality almost the same. Maybe that's possible.
It's July in the state of Maharashtra. Irfan Dunwadi is a farmer in Kolhapur whose crops are failing. The monsoon rains, which typically pour around this time, are late, resulting in an extended dry season.
अभी 2 महीने बारिश लेट होने की वजह से अभी कुआं ये खाली है, अभी पानी नहीं है, इसलिए अब जो हम पिक डालने वाले थे बारिश का वो लेट हो चुका है।
Farmers here are reliant on wells like these. They've been dry for months. Irfan's sugarcane crop is unlikely to survive this season.
ये 12 महीने का गन्ना इतना बढ़ रहा है। ये 12 महीने में गन्ना ये ज़मीन पे लेट जाता है। 12 महीने में ये गन्ना ज़मीन में लेट जाता है। अब ये बारिश नहीं, इसलिए ये गन्ना इतना हो गया है। ये 12 महीने का गन्ना है। अब बारिश सब कुछ पानी पर है। ज़मीन तो अपनी पिकने वाली वो पानी पर है। ये सब खाली पड़ती है।
After the rains, Irfan will clear his land and get it ready to plant emmer wheat, an ancient grain. It's a hardy plant that continues to thrive despite the unpredictable climate. It's the only crop that he and his family can depend on. Especially in certain parts of India like this, where irrigated water is hard to come by and most farmers pray for the rains.
The water management definitely, I think, particularly important in this region because still majority of the farming land is rain-fed. So without good or proper irrigation systems, and really the farmers rely heavily on the proper, on the rainfall at the right time.
In the Punjab region, modern irrigation systems have saved farms from the impact of changing weather patterns. They've allowed farmers' planting cycles to remain constant. This ensures that rice remains stocked on supermarket shelves. But excessive irrigation has severely drained groundwater supplies. The dominant crops in these parts are wheat and rice. Most farmers in Punjab plant regular white rice, but many would prefer to plant Basmati rice. Basmati is a long-grained indigenous rice that has been planted for centuries. It uses less water than regular white rice and no chemical fertilisers. But farmers here are still hesitant to plant it. The government provides a minimum support price, or MSP, for farmers that plant regular white rice, which guarantees them a profit. There is no such support for Basmati rice.
फार्मर को भी उसने भी कैलकुलेट करना होता है कि अगर मैं धान लगाऊंगा तो इतने इसकी प्रोडक्शन हो जाएगी तो मेरे को इतने पैसे मिल जाएंगे, उससे मैं अपना खर्चा या नेक्स्ट क्रॉप का खर्चा कर लूँगा। बाकी जो सारी अल्टरनेटिव क्रॉप्स हैं वो तो एक जुआ है, दैट इज़ ए रिस्क। वो तो फार्मर को पता नहीं, हो इंडिपेंडेंट मार्केट है, प्राइवेट प्लेयर्स हैं, वो उसका प्राइस देंगे नहीं देंगे, तो वो इसीलिए इसी धान और वीट में घुसा पड़ा है।
If we really would like to promote those crops, there's two directions that we probably can work on. The first is to really introduce the improved varieties of those Asian grains with high yield. And the second is to include those crops in the government procurement plan and to ensure that when farmers shift from rice to Asian grains, farmers actually can make more income.
Harpal Singh is a rice farmer. He has over 100 acres of land under cultivation. Rather than plant white rice and have the security of the government's MSP, he has decided to take a calculated risk and plant Basmati rice.
हमारे पिताजी भी पहले बासमती लगाते था, पहले उसके बाद हम भी लगाने लग पे। वो 25 कोई मैनू तकरीबन खेती करदे को 30-32 साल हो गए। वो सारे इस तरह बेनती है, इसको तां चुना, ये जो बासमती है ना, ये पानी कम पीती है, इस करके इसको हमने चुना भी ये पानी कम पीने वाली फसल है। वो जो भी चीज़ पानी कम पीवेगी उसमें लागत भी कम ही आएगी। पानी ऐसे है भी हमारे इधर से कोई वजह नहीं पानी कम होने के लिए। जब हम खबरें सुनते हैं ना पंजाब की या हो राजस्थान की कितने ऐसा करके हम वो समझते हैं भी जे उधर ये बात है, कल को हमारे वाले इधर भी ना, मतलब उधर ये बात चल रही है पानी कम की, इधर भी ना आ जाए, बाकी हमारे वाले प्रॉब्लम कोई नहीं पानी की।
Punjab's authorities share Harpal's mission. In an effort to slow the damage to the land's groundwater, they're encouraging a return to the old river-fed canal system. Such a canal was recently restored on Harpal's farm.
ये जो हम पंजाब सरकार आई है ना हमारे वाल, ये जोर दे रही है भी ट्यूबवेलों का पानी कम नीचे से ले आओ, ते नहर का पानी लगाओ, किसानों को ये बोल रही है। ये जहाँ जहाँ भी जमीन रिक्वायर किया हुआ है ना सरकार ने, पहलियां सरकारों ने, मतलब आज तो को 20, 30, 40, 50 साल जो पहले सरकार उसने रिक्वायर किया हुआ, इसको किसानों ने जोत दिया था।
The rains have finally come, but heavy as they are, the full monsoon season might not bring consistent rainfall to feed the lands. And with El Niño, drought is almost certain. Without sufficient rain, India's rice crops are destined to fail again. In Belgaum, a bustling district in Karnataka, India, Suresh Desai, a farmer and organic farming advocate, works on an unusual approach to ensuring healthy crops. He uses an ancient Indian healing method known as Ayurveda. Ayurveda is a holistic approach to physical and mental health. Suresh adapts those principles to plants. He's travelled far and wide to impart those wisdoms to agricultural communities across the world.
हर एक सजीव पर पंचमहाभूत का प्रभाव रहता है। वो पंचमहाभूत हर शरीर में, यानी मानव हो, प्राणी हो, पौधे हो, कीटक हो, बैक्टीरिया हो, सारे पर प्रभाव रहता है। वो बेसिक नॉलेज होना चाहिए। वो इम्बैलेंसिंग, वो बैलेंस में रहा तो तगड़ा रहता है, और वो इम्बैलेंसिंग हो गया कई कारणों से इम्बैलेंसिंग हो गया तो बिगड़ जाता है।
Suresh applies Ayurvedic-inspired techniques on his farm. He adjusts the nutrients his plants receive through the soil and from the sun. He leaves gaps between his plants to allow the sunlight to penetrate the foliage, ensuring that all the plants receive the right balance of light. He also plants a variety of crops on the same farm plot.
ज़्यादातर अभी आप सारे किसान लोग सिर्फ गन्ना ही गन्ना बोते हैं, बराबर, ये गलत है। तो इसके बदले हम मिक्स क्रॉपिंग, जो सीज़न के मुताबिक मुझे क्या क्या चाहिए, थोड़ा सब्जियां चाहिए, गेहूं चाहिए, चना चाहिए, कोरिएंडर चाहिए, थोड़ा हल्दी चाहिए, ये जो क्रॉप है तो उसको भी खाना मिलना चाहिए, हमें भी खाना मिलना चाहिए। ये सिस्टम हमें हर एक फसल में लाना चाहिए। ये इसका ये है। लेकिन तब जो बचपन में जो हमें खाने के लिए पूरा सीज़न भर और टोटल जो वातावरण में बदलाव, ज़्यादा बारिश होना, ज़्यादा धूप, टेम्परेचर बढ़ाना, उसको कारण यही है टायर सिस्टम, यानी मोनोकल्चर का इसका प्रभाव से ये सारे तकलीफ बढ़ रहे हैं, ज़्यादा धूप और ज़्यादा बारिश।
Advancements in agriculture meant the proliferation of monocultures and input-intensive farming techniques. The effect of this tripled the production of cereal crops at a time when India's population more than doubled. While some claim that these technologies helped avert famine, others say it led to the devastation of local indigenous crops.
Because the native seeds don't like chemicals, they lodge. So to avoid the problem that native seeds were creating, they were like a hurdle. I call it the plant satyagraha. Satyagraha is Gandhi's word for non-cooperation. And the plants were saying, I don't want your chemicals, I will lie down and rebel against you. Our pulses disappeared, our oil seeds disappeared, our vegetables and fruits disappeared.
This is Ganjoti in the state of Telangana. Kane Manjula has returned to farming ancient grains. But it wasn't so long ago when she planted cotton, like many of her neighbours.
పత్తి విత్తనాలు వేసినంటే అందరు వేస్తారు కదా అన్నట్టు మనకు ఏమైనా లాభం అవుతుందేమన్నట్లు పత్తి విత్తనాలు వేసిన వేస్తే అందరి గురించి మనము చేను పక్కల అందరు వేస్తారు కదా అని నేను వేసిన వాళ్ళతో పాటు వేసేటల కళ ఎట్లా అయిందంటే ఇది ఇంత కొద్దిగా పెద్దగా అయిన తర్వాత కలిసినాక ఒక 2 కలుపులు కలిపినాక మళ్ళీ ఒక్కొక్క కాయ ఉట్టబట్టింది. కాయ ఉడతబడితే ఇట్లా రోగం వచ్చింది. రోగం వచ్చినాక ఇట్లా వర్షం లేదు. మళ్ళీ తర్వాత వర్షం ఉండాలి దానికి. మామూలుగా ఒక వారం కన్నా ఇట్లా పడడం మీద ఉంటే దానికి ఏమీ ఇది కాకుండా ఇక పడలేదు. మొత్తానికి పడకపోయేటల కల్లా 1 నెల కాలం పోయింది. మొత్తము పోయేటల కల్లా మొత్తం కింద పండినట్టు ఇట్లా పడిపోతుంది. దంటు మొత్తం ఎల్లరకడికెళ్ళి ఉసిపోతుంది. అది గాలికి మొత్తం పడిపోతే అందులో పంట ఏం కాలేదు. మసాలాలు వేసినా మందులు కొట్టినా అన్నీ చేసినా కానీ ఏం శాతం నాకు అందులో 10% కాలేదు. నాకు అందులో ఎంత
Kane now plants food crops exclusively, with a vast variety of ancient ones, including millet. But like many farmers that return to ancient grains, they're finding it hard to find seeds from their past.
అప్పుడు పత్తి తీసేసినాక ఈ సిరిధాన్యాల పంటలోకి విత్తనాలు నా దగ్గర లేకుండే. అన్ని పంటలు 2 సంవత్సరాలు పెట్టినాయి కదా. పెడితే నా ఇంట్లో విత్తనాలు అన్నీ అయిపోగొట్టుకున్నా. ఎక్కడి అన్నీ పెట్టేసినాక లాస్ అయిపోయినా కదా అన్నట్టు పత్తి దాంట్లోకి పోయేటకల్లా ఒక కిత్తుబి లేకుంటే మా అత్తమ్మ దగ్గర తీసుకున్న కొన్ని. ఆమె మళ్ళీ ఏం చేసింది సంఘం తరపు నుంచి ఆమె విత్తనాలు తీసుకొచ్చింది అన్ని రకాలు. ఈ రకాలు పెట్టుకుంటే మరి ఆ చేనులో పెట్టుకుంటే ఇంటి నిండా గాసం ఉంటాయి. ఆ పత్తి తెరువు కానీ ఇన్ని రకాలు సంఘం నుంచి వినంగా డీరెస్ సంఘం నుంచి నాకు విత్తనాలు అందులో సాయం వచ్చింది. మా అత్తమ్మ ఇచ్చింది, సాయం చేసింది. ఈ విత్తనాలు ఇంట్లోనే ఈ రకడలో ఇప్పుడు మా ఇంటి కుటుంబం ఇంట్లోనే బాగుపడుతుంది. విత్తనాలలో తిని ఈ పంట పండించుకుంటే మేము తిననీకే కొనుక్కొచ్చుకోనికే మేము బియ్యం ఒకటే కొనుక్కుంటాము. జొన్నలు 10 కొద్దిగానే మేము కొనుక్కునేది అయిపోయిన తర్వాతనే ఎప్పుడన్నా ఈ పిట్టెలు తినేస్తే మామూలుగా అవుతాయి కదా, వాటికి కొనుక్కొచ్చుకుంటాం తిననీకి. ఇంట్లో మేము పోదిచ్చినామంటే ఈ పంటతోట మేము పోదిస్తున్నాం పిల్లలతో, మా భర్తతో, అందరితో.
Having these seeds means that Kane is able to provide enough food for herself, her family, and on occasion, a little extra to sell. The seeds have empowered Kane and many other women in the region. The Millet Sisters played a big role in the region's push for ancient grains. They're an organisation that helps women farmers transition back to traditional farming practices. Members meet regularly to share pointers on farming the old way. They also pool funds to help new members get started.
పెంటేరు వేస్తేనే ఆ పంటలు పండుతాయి. ఎవరైతే ఆ పంటలు మంచిగా పెడతారో వాళ్ళని గుర్తించి ఈ బర్రె కానీ, ఆవు కానీ, మేకలు కానీ వాళ్ళకి ఇస్తాం. సొంతం ఎరువు ఉంటుంది, టైంకి ఎరువు కొట్టుకుంటారు. వర్షాలు పడంగానే ఇంటి ఇత్తనాలతోని వాళ్ళు ఎదలు పెట్టుకొని మంచి పంటలు పండించుకుంటారు. అట్లా కలుపు లాగోడికి పెంట ఎరువులకు ఒక ఎకరానికి 7,000 నుంచి 10,000 రూపాయలు వాళ్ళకు కలుపు లాగోడిస్తాం. తోగార్లు కానీ, పెసాళ్ళు, మినుములు, వాళ్ళ బెబ్బలు, పుండ్లు, ఇట్లా చాలా రకాలుగా వాళ్ళు ధాన్యం రూపంలో మాకు వాపసు చేసి వాళ్ళు అప్పు దింపుకుంటారు. ఆ విధంగా కూడా వాళ్ళు మార్కెట్కి మంచిగా ఇచ్చినందుకు కూడా వాళ్ళకు సాయం అవుతుంది. ఎట్లా అంటే బయట మార్కెట్ కంటే 10% ఎక్కువతో ఇస్తాం మేము వాళ్ళకు ధాన్యంకు ధర కట్టిస్తాం.
చేసుకున్న ఎంత తిప్పలో ఉంటే అంత మంచి తిండి మన దగ్గర ఉన్నది. 20 రకాలు వేసినామంటే ఒక్కొక్కటి ఒక్కొక్క రకము ఒక్కొక్క టైంకి వస్తుంది. ఎట్లా అంటే ఫస్ట్ కొర్ర వస్తుంది, ఫస్ట్ మినుం పేసరు వస్తుంది, మినుం తర్వాత కొర్ర వస్తుంది, కొర్ర తర్వాత సజ్జలు వస్తాయి, సజ్జల తర్వాత లాస్ట్కు పజ్జొన్నలు వస్తాయి, బెబ్బెర్లు వస్తాయి, అనుములు వస్తాయి. ఇట్లా ఒకదానికి ఒకదాని వస్తుంది అన్నమాట. అది తిప్పలే కదా, ఇక ఆడపిల్లల పని అనమాట. అది మగ పిల్లల పని కాదు, అది ఆడోళ్ళు ఏరుకొని తీసుకొచ్చేది పని. అది తెచ్చి మంచిది తెచ్చి దాచిపెట్టి విత్తనాలు మంచి మంచి ఎన్ని తీసి పక్కన పెట్టి రాసి వేసి ఎండకేసి మెత్తి పెట్టాడు ఆడోళ్ళ పని. ఈ చిరుధాన్యాలు ఉంటాయి.
In Thailand, Professor Apichat is at a conference promoting Riceberry. He's speaking today to Thailand's Foreign Office. Apichat wants them to learn more about Riceberry and promote it overseas.
So we have to do a lot of marketing, how to eat with meals. So we have private company who interested in, because of the price of the rice could be higher, and coming to new design of food. That's so challenging.
Imagine Riceberry sushi. It might not conform to what consumers expect, but it demonstrates the flexibility of the riceberry and its health benefits. Meanwhile, in Mai Se, it's harvest time for Boon Pen Kam Gurn's riceberry. In many parts of the world, temperatures are hitting all-time highs. In India, the warming Pacific Ocean is reducing monsoon rainfalls and creating severe drought. In 2023, India is predicted to have the lowest amounts of monsoon rains in 8 years, prompting the government to react by banning the export of regular white rice.
India actually contribute to about 40% of the international rice market. So for countries those heavily rely on the rice import from India, especially in the African countries, I think which will really will cause a big concerns for the food security.
Another important global exporter of rice is Thailand. The authorities here have also urged farmers to reduce rice planting to save water following poor rainfall. Farmers will need to turn to less thirsty crops, like riceberry. In Mai Se, Boon Pen Kam Gurn's riceberry crops are ready for harvest. It's weighed and sold. The harvest yields 9,000 kilograms of riceberry. Not as large a yield as it would have been if Boon Peng had planted regular white rice, but he saved on water. And because he didn't use chemical fertilisers, his land is more fertile. Farmers willing to take a chance on ancient grains are still in the minority because of the grain's limited demand. In India, Ruchi Jain is trying to change that. She acquires ancient grains from farmers across the country, then packages and distributes them in India and across the world. Ruchi's marketing approach? To get people interested in the stories of these indigenous crops and their growers.
And Upendra Rabha revived black rice from a couple of seeds in 2010. So it was completely lost as a variety, you know. And then he just started black rice from a couple of seeds, and then he grew up an entire batch of black rice. And then in 2015 and 16, we started sourcing black rice from him. So initially we bought some 200 kgs and we sent it to a restaurant. And then after that, we gave a hamper to Prince Charles. So basically, the newspaper of Assam Times wrote that our, Assam black rice went to Prince Charles. And then we also sent 500 kgs to a Michelin star restaurant in London called Chutney Mary. So all of this was covered. So then the farmers were like, wow, this particular rice we should all grow because it has a really good market. So that's how, the awareness started.
Ruchi is on her way to Shirgaon in Karnataka. She regularly travels to remote villages across India to meet communities like these. There she speaks to farmers and discovers new varieties of ancient grains that she can introduce to markets.
In this particular place, in this particular village with Gajendra ji, his indigenous seed is more than 50 years old, which means it's been a legacy heritage seed which has been passed on. So that's very important for us.
After some convincing, ancient grains sourced by Ruchi have made their way to dining tables in some of India's finest hotels. In the Jain household, they're a key feature in nearly every meal. Ruchi wants to introduce people to the taste and benefits of ancient grains. She also wants home cooks to learn how to use them.
They've forgotten how to soak the millets, how to make rotis out of it. They're very obsessed with the white flour, white rice, white sugar, everything white in color, white maida. So if it becomes a separate color altogether, which is brown color or something like that, they're like, oh, now what do I do?
There will indeed be new skills for consumers to acquire when cooking with ancient grains. And when more of these grains make their way into our diets, that increased demand would push even more farmers to turn to them. But first, they need to make very fundamental changes to the way they farm. Changes that would ultimately benefit both their incomes as well as the environment.
ก็คือสิ่งหนึ่งที่เกษตรกรเขายังขาดอยู่ก็คือเรื่องของความรู้ความเข้าใจเราเองในฐานะนักวิชาการเราก็คงต้องไปให้ความรู้กับเขาตรงนี้เราก็ต้องอธิบายค่ะว่าการที่ลดตรงนี้แล้วเราจะได้อะไรผลประโยชน์มันไม่ใช่แค่เรื่องสิ่งแวดล้อมแต่มันคือต้นทุนในเรื่องของการผลิตอาหารต้นทุนในเรื่องของการใช้น้ำใช้ปุ๋ยใช้ยาถ้าเราจัดการได้ดีเราลดต้นทุนได้เราก็มีกำไรเพิ่มตรงนั้นก็จะทำให้เกษตรกรมองเห็นประโยชน์มากขึ้น
పప్పుల దినుసు తొగళ్ళు వెడుదం పప్పుల దినుసు తొగళ్ళు వెడుదం భయ పాడకేసిన మామ పప్పుల దినుసు తొగళ్ళు వెడుదం గడగడ ఉరిమే మిరుగము వచ్చే ఏమి వెడుదమే చిన్న కొడలో గడగడ ఉరిమే మిరుగము.
As our planet continues to warm, the world's major crops are becoming increasingly vulnerable. But there are seeds of hope. Ancient grains, despite the unfamiliar taste, offer far greater nutritional value. They could also be the key to promoting a more ecologically sustainable food system.